After living in the United Kingdom for nearly 3 years and exploring most of the picturesque landscape of Wales and England, we finally set our sight on the breathtaking beauty of Scotland. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. We planned a jam-packed 6-day trip to the Scottish Highlands, hitting up iconic spots such as Fort William, the Isle of Skye, Inverness, Cairngorms National Park, and finally the iconic city of Edinburgh, all while soaking in the stunning landscapes and serene lakes along the way. Our journey kicked off from the charming town of Coventry, and after a 6-hour drive overnight, we arrived at our first stop, Firkin Point, nestled on the banks of Loch Lomond. The early morning view were nothing short of spectacular, and we couldn't resist snapping some epic shots of the Scottish landscape as we made our way to Fort William. As we ventured towards Fort William, we were constantly blown away by the mesmerizing sights around every corner. Snow-capped peaks in the distance and lakeside views made us stop in a lay-by and capture some more shots along the way. We head towards Fort William, but needless to say, we stopped once again, seeing this amazing view of a lake and hills right by the side of the road. And here are some of the beautiful shots we captured at this beautiful location by the side of the lake. Arriving in Fort William, we were greeted by the quaint charm of this little town, set against the backdrop of towering Ben Nevis, the highest peak in the United Kingdom. While we didn't tackle the Ben Nevis hike, we did make a detour to the famous Glenfinnan viaduct, made famous by the Harry Potter films. Though the Hogwarts Express wasn't chugging along that day, we still managed to capture some magical moments as a Scottish rail passed through the viaduct. After a day filled with adventure, we made our way to our cozy accommodation in the seaside village of Broadford. The crystal clear waters and stunning landscape provide the perfect backdrop for some unforgettable photos and videos. And here are some of the amazing shots from that evening of our accommodation in Broadford. The next morning brought clear skies and even more stunning views as we set off for the Isle of Skye. From breathtaking lakeside vistas to jaw-dropping waterfalls cascading directly into the sea, every stop along the way was a photographer's dream. We stumbled across this beautiful view of the Scottish peaks across the sea and stopped by the side of the road to soak in the beauty of the landscape, and here are some of the shots for you. We finally arrive at this amazing waterfall that falls directly into the sea, and it's called Mealtfalls. But as good as the views from the ground are, the aerial shots of this place was something from another dimension and a piece of art one should definitely behold. Moving on, we arrive at Fairy Pools and we hike to a point as close to the hills as we could reach that evening, and here are the views from up there. The next morning, we start our journey from Broadford to Inverness, and here are some of the amazing views we captured on our way from a small car lay-by near the river. This is one of my personal favorite footage from the tour, as it captures the railway track running parallel to the road, the river alongside the lush green pine trees, and a clear blue sky highlighting the magnificent peak in front of us. We stopped in a park, and while filming the forest canopy on our way, we came across this beautiful snow-covered peak in the distance, and although it was not in the plans, we decided to drive to this peak, hoping to hike to the top of it. Unfortunately, the roads to the peak ended at a private land, but we were able to capture some amazing views of the entire landscape from another peak next to it. By the evening, we reached our accommodation in a small village called Croy, just outside Inverness. We were on our way to buy some groceries when we captured this amazing picture of the sunset, followed by a starry night sky. The next morning, we started our journey from Inverness to Edinburgh through the Cairngorms National Park. Although the landscape was a bit flat compared to the Scottish Highlands to its west, we still enjoyed our drive through the national park, clicking some cool photos throughout the way. By evening, we reached our next accommodation in this quiet little village outside Perth. The owner stayed in the house next to us and had a beautiful lawn alongside his personal pond. They were quite generous, and I can highly recommend their accommodation to anyone travelling to Edinburgh. Our adventure culminated in this historic city of Edinburgh, where we strolled through the picturesque street, visited the iconic castle, and geeked out over Harry Potter sites. Despite the rain that evening, Edinburgh's magical charm left a lasting impression on us. As we headed home, filled with incredible memories and countless photos, we couldn't help but marvel at the wonderland that is Scotland. From its rugged landscape to its rich history, Scotland truly stole our hearts and earned a top spot on our travel bucket list.